headlines of this hour on VTV News. Socio-economic situation in May and 5 months of 2024 post positive trend. And Vietnam promotes administrative procedure reform to better attract FDI. In our world news, U.S. presents new Israel ceasefire plan.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. local time and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyen Tan with the top stories. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh on Saturday morning chaired the government's regular meeting to review the socio-economic situation in May and the first 5 months of 2024. Vietnam's economy in May maintained a positive growth in all three sectors: agriculture, manufacturing, and services. Manufacturing production increased by 3.9% compared to April and increased by 8.9% over the same period. In the first 5 months, total import-export turnover increased by 16.6%. State budget revenue increased sharply, reaching nearly 53% of the yearly estimate in 5 months. Public investment capital disbursement reached 22.3% of the target figure, higher than the same period. In contrast, FDI attraction reached $11 billion. In terms of services, Vietnam has welcomed more than 7.6 million visitors, higher than at pre-COVID levels. In the short term, the Prime Minister stressed the need to focus on operating monetary policy proactively, flexibly, promptly, and effectively, facilitate access to credit capital for businesses and consumers, immediately implement solutions to stabilize the gold market, and soon have a plan to mobilize an additional $3.9 billion in government bonds for strategic infrastructure projects. Investors have a positive outlook and confidence in Vietnam's economy for 2024, according to the Asia-Pacific Investment Report on the first quarter, recently published by SAVOS. FDI inflows into Vietnam reflect robust growth. Now, according to the report, the newly registered FDI increased by 58% compared to the same period last year. This indicates sound investor confidence in a vibrant industrial sector. SAVOS report forecasts that Vietnam's semiconductor industry is expected to attract significant investment in 2024. SAVOS Vietnam assesses the economic outlook for the country as positive this year and predicts that Vietnam will rank among the top 20 fastest growing economies globally. Promote administrative procedure reform, build mechanism and policies suitable for international economic integration, innovate investment promotion, and increase exchanges and dialogues with businesses. These are the new direction in attracting FDI capital in Ho Chi Minh City. Thanks to these reforms, in the first 5 months of the year, Ho Chi Minh City continues to be the leading locality in the number of new projects, capital adjustment, and foreign investment capital contributions.
In addition to applying e-customs, the Investment Management Customs branch of Ho Chi Minh City Customs Department is opening community groups to speed up business administrative procedures.
Having a group exchange information and ask for support is more convenient. Businesses can also register for goods inspection online instead of running to the ports like before.
We send businesses the latest documents for updates. We also publicize a phone number to support businesses whenever needed.
More than 4,000 foreign invested enterprises have been supported in handling procedures. Since the beginning of the year, more than 290,000 declarations have been processed. Import-export tax collection has reached more than $361 million. Reforming administrative procedures and creating favorable conditions for enterprises is the key to increasing budget revenue and attracting investors.
We regularly organize conferences to meet enterprises or conduct on-site inspections at enterprises with large import-export volumes to understand and quickly resolve challenges. If these problems are beyond our authority, we recommend that higher levels resolve them.
Ho Chi Minh City People's Committee has established a working group to resolve difficulties and problems of FDI enterprises through monthly meetings or referrals.
How the industry and the government come together to prepare ourselves for economic growth and the challenges. The great news is, if you look at everything is digital now, and semiconductor is at the forefront of everything, like the 50,000 semiconductor expert.
Ho Chi Minh City waived 5 administrative procedures at the end of May when using online public services. This change will motivate production and increase investors' confidence in Ho Chi Minh City.
The clearance of agricultural products and fruits for export through Lạng border gates is on the rise, especially at the Tân Thanh border gate and the Hữu Nghị International border gate. At the Hữu Nghị International border gate, an average of 500 to 800 vehicles carrying goods are cleared daily. Most of them transport fresh agricultural products and fruit. The number of vehicles transporting agricultural exports from southern provinces to the Hữu Nghị International border gate grows significantly from May to July every year, because this is the peak harvest season for many agricultural products. Lạng Sơn provincial authorities have taken steps to manage and regulate the flow of vehicles carrying trading goods to ensure smooth and efficient clearance and transportation. Sơn La province is a prominent fruit-growing region in northern Vietnam with 87,000 hectares of farmland and an annual yield of 430,000 tons. Without proper deep processing, each harvest of staple agricultural products only fetches modest prices in their raw form. However, through strategic deep processing initiatives, the value of these products has seen a remarkable surge, providing local farmers with a stable output.
Phie's plum plantation, consisting 3 expansive orchards, yields an annual average of 60 tons. Phie reflects on the unpredictable nature of agricultural yields and market prices, but expresses relief now that his harvest is registered through the local cooperative.
We used to struggle with sales because of the market's competitive prices. Since we learned about the cooperative, we have affiliated with them to secure a stable output for our dried plums.
Plums are transported to the Tây Bắc Cooperative's processing facility, where the journey begins from fruit to dried plum. Each step in making a delicious bulk of plum jam is crucial, from harvest to sorting. We carefully remove the damaged fruit. Once we've left with the better-looking fruit, we wash them before slicing them. Recognizing the economic potential of local single-clove garlic, the cooperative has pioneered the development of a black garlic incubator and dryer. This foresight resulted in a significant production boost since 2018, with current figures reaching 60 to 70 tons annually.
We must ensure food hygiene and safety from the time the raw materials are imported to the processing time. We have to incubate for 45 to 60 days during the natural fermentation process. Then, we must monitor the oven temperature to produce the best product.
Beyond dried plums are black garlic. The Tây Bắc Cooperative diversifies its product ranges, generating an impressive annual revenue of over $589,000.
Many local cooperatives and households have successfully borrowed money from loans and policy banks for their production. These investments create employment opportunities and stimulate agricultural productivity.
Several products from the Tây Bắc Cooperative have earned 3-star OCOP certification. Products are promoted and distributed through various online channels, including e-commerce platforms and popular social networks like Facebook, Zalo, and TikTok.
Now, according to the latest report of the General Statistics Office, the average core inflation in the first 5 months of the year rose by 2.78% compared to the same period last year. This Consumer Price Index, or CPI, increased by 4.03%. Meanwhile, the inflation rate worldwide remains high, with many developed nations above the 2% target of their central bank. Expats living in Vietnam consider the country's inflation to be moderate compared to that of their home countries and remains within an acceptable level.
Having lived in Vietnam for 8 years, Leslie noticed an increase of 10 to 20% in the price of many consumer goods compared to last year. The rise makes her buy less, but has not impacted her monthly spending too much.
Last year, not so much. I'd say it's increased about 10,000 dong for a bowl of pho. And now I'm paying 50 to 60, depending on where I eat it. I'm finding it more affordable to eat at local places. So if I get bun chow, pho, instead of going for a burger or a pizza. I know that in Vietnam, the government puts policies in place to regulate your basic needs, so food and transport.
Meanwhile, the price change does not affect Mitch's daily life and business much.
You know, normal day-to-day prices for food and transportation, it's not significant in my opinion. My rent here in the salon has gone up another 600,000 dong a month, which is affordable for me. Now, in my own country, in the United States, someone said that one avocado is $7 US. I would say 30 to 40% increase in food, you know, and housing.
As the National Assembly targets this year's inflation rate of 4 to 4.5%, the 2.78% figure of core inflation for the first 5 months is still within the range.
Two main drivers here really, one is elevated food inflation, and the other thing is energy prices in terms of volatility in the global commodity market. So for 2Q, I think inflation pressure is still there. It will gradually dissipate in the second half of this year. For now, inflation pressures very much persist, but I don't think it's enough to move the needle for the SPV to hike.
Vietnam has secured abundant rice and food output to meet domestic and export demand, assisting inflationary pressure. Additionally, the government has deployed several solutions to control inflation, such as reducing lending interest rates, stabilizing the foreign exchange market, reducing the 2% value-added tax, and reducing the environmental protection tax on petroleum. However, international financial organizations predict that inflation will continue to be a notable concern for Vietnam in the remaining months of this year.
Coming up next on VTV News. Ho Chi Minh City launches first People's Committee simulation for children. And let's see how protecting the forest is vital to promoting biodiversity. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, the chairman of the Hanoi People's Committee, Trần Sĩ Thanh, has recently called on all relevant units to speed up the construction of social housing projects. At least one project must be launched by October 1st, while still ensuring long-term quality. For 2021 to 2025, the Hanoi People's Committee has approved 5 social housing projects, covering a total area of 248 hectares. To date, investment proposals for 4 projects have been completed for the construction of approximately 12,300 apartments. The chair underlined that the top priority is to build competitively priced social housing of the highest quality possible, so the apartments are affordable for people with above-average incomes. E-cigarettes are increasingly popular among 13 to 15 years old in Vietnam. Now, in addition to nicotine addiction and poisoning, another danger from e-cigarettes is the mixing of drugs. Due to these threats, experts have proposed banning the circulation of these products in the Vietnamese market. Now, protecting children and adolescents from tobacco industry interference is also this year's World No Tobacco Day theme.
These 2 adolescents have tried smoking patchouli, a type of e-cigarette mixed with synthetic drugs.
When I smoked, I lost control and wanted to jump from the 2nd floor to the 1st floor. I was a high school student at that time.
Some e-cigarette stores openly sell e-cigarette essential oils containing drugs.
These are drugs disguised as e-cigarettes. The type of cigarettes has drug impurities. Those bottles will have a lot of cannabis, essential oils. Simply speaking, it is a form of liquid ecstasy.
In the past 5 years, the National Institute of Forensic Medicine found that 120 out of 160 e-cigarette samples contained at least one type of new generation drug. The Law on Prevention and Control of Tobacco Harms and its guiding documents do not specify regulations on e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products. The Ministry of Health and several National Assembly deputies have proposed banning new generation cigarettes.
I earnestly suggest that the National Assembly promptly amend the Law on Prevention and Control of Tobacco Harms at the 8th session at the end of the year to include provisions on preventing the harmful effects of new generation tobacco products.
All levels, departments and agencies, especially the National Assembly and the government, must devise strict legal remedies such as banning the production and promotion of new generation tobacco products, including e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products in a timely manner.
Over the past 3 years, the rate of e-cigarette use among students in Vietnam has increased at an alarming rate. In the 13 to 15 age group, the rate has more than doubled from 3.5% in 2022 to 8% in 2023. The consequences of cigarettes can be foreseen, including social evils, diseases, and degradation of reproduction.
The International Children's Day in Ho Chi Minh City began with a special event, the first ever simulation of the People's Council meeting but for children. This event was organized to gather thoughts, aspirations, and proposals from children in building a livable city. A total of 150 young delegates, representing over 2 million children in Ho Chi Minh City, participated in the mini-meeting as city council members and leaders of various departments. The issues centered around the theme Cities, Children, Global Citizens. The delegates presented not only individual opinions, but also compiled those of their classmates prior to the meeting. The chair of the Ho Chi Minh City People's Council highly valued the effectiveness of the meeting, noting that it would help the city develop policies that amplify children's voices. In the era of global integration, multicultural education is an advanced educational model widely applied in schools with different approaches and scales. Now, with a team of multinational teachers and students, international schools attract many parents who wish to let their children develop in an environment diverse in traditions, languages, and customs. As a result, they can integrate and have multidimensional perspectives, which is the foundation for becoming future global citizens.
Joining the parade in traditional customs of different countries, presenting insights about their country, and enjoying specialties worldwide. These were among the special cultural exchange day activities recently held at Wesleyan International School, Hanoi. Students and parents are excited to discover the unique features of different cultures.
I'm from Jordan. I was living in UAE. I introduced my country. I like the way that the people cheer me up.
I enjoy activities in the auditorium where my friends and seniors introduce their countries. I really want to try South Korean food.
My kids have been very eager and have prepared outside since the beginning of the week. We parents have prepared and planned unique dishes for the international students.
Wesleyan International School Hanoi pursues through its activities the goal of encouraging students to learn and appreciate the diversity of cultures within the school community of teachers, students, and families from nearly 20 countries.
My kid goes to school happily every day and makes friends from many countries. I'm happy to choose this school for my child.
As part of being an international baccalaureate school, an IB school, we do have to make sure that we look at that international context in all we do. Whether it's looking at the children's individual backgrounds and where they've come from, or countries that they might be interested in, or looking at how we all work together in the world and the United Nations Social Development Goals. All of that is built into the programs that we deliver. Everybody needs to know how to get on with each other, how to have tolerance, how to be curious about other countries and other cultures. We need our children to have that global outlook.
Contrary to many concerns about losing students' identity, the multicultural learning environment not only helps students develop an open mindset and multidimensional perspectives, but also helps them to be aware of preserving and promoting their own national identity, thus becoming ambassadors promoting Vietnamese culture to international friends.
Vietnam is intensifying efforts to expand protected ecosystems. This is part of the plan to preserve and foster national sustainable socio-economic growth while proactively addressing climate challenges. Mũi Cà Mau National Park has demonstrated these efforts with extensive measures to revive natural forest coverage.
During routine patrols, Mũi Cà Mau National Park staff detected and reinforced a damaged section of the fence. This task is carried out all year round, and staff are on especially high alert during June and July, the critical months leading up to the mangrove fruit season.
August is usually mango fruit season, so we are preparing to facilitate the natural dispersal and anchoring of mangrove seeds. This way, the plant can grow and produce without external influences.
After 4 years, 38 of the initial 55 hectares of protected areas have been regenerated into forests. Although protected areas have a lower survival rate and slower pace than conventional forest planting techniques, they have biodiversity advantages.
Protected forests are a form of indigenous ecosystem. The flora and fauna are native to that area and adapt well to the environment. In contrast, planted forests cannot match the biological and ecological richness of the protected ones.
As the 5th Ramsar site in Vietnam and a designated UNESCO World Biosphere Reserve, Mũi Cà Mau National Park plays a key role in the natural regeneration of mangrove forests. By expanding habitats and protecting endemic species, these protected areas significantly contribute to the conservation of Vietnam and the world's biodiversity.
Coming up next in our world news. U.S. presents new Israel ceasefire plan. And French police arrest men over plot to attack the Olympics. Now moving on to our world news, U.S. President Joe Biden announced on Friday that Israel has proposed a roadmap to an enduring ceasefire and the release of all hostages, adding that it's time to end this conflict. Now, according to the U.S. President, the proposal outlines a three-phase roadmap towards a ceasefire. The initial phase, spanning 6 weeks, involves a full and complete ceasefire with the withdrawal of Israeli forces from all populated areas of Gaza. In this phase, Palestinian civilians can return to their homes in Gaza, and 608 trucks will be allowed entrance into Palestinian territories. It also includes the release of several hostages in exchange for the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. In the second phase, Hamas and Israel will negotiate a permanent end to hostilities. The third phase will see a major reconstruction plan for Gaza. In response, Hamas announced that they were considering the proposal. A man has been arrested in the south of France over suspicions that he was planning to attack a football stadium, which will be used during the 2024 Olympic Games. Now, according to officials, the 18-year-old of Chechen origin was apprehended in Saint-Étienne. Interior Minister Gerard Damanin said authorities found initial evidence of an Islamist-inspired attack, where the suspect wanted to attack spectators and security forces. France is on high alert in the run-up to the Olympics, starting on 26th of July. The 4 members of the iconic Swedish pop group ABBA reunited on Friday to receive one of the country's top honors, the Royal Vasa Order. The formal ceremony took place in the Royal Palace of Stockholm. They became a commander of the first class of the order for very outstanding efforts in Swedish and international music life. The Royal Order of Vasa is given in recognition of personal efforts for Sweden and for Swedish interests. as well as the successful performance of public duties and assignments. The recognition comes 50 years after ABBA won the Eurovision Song Contest in Brighton with their song Waterloo, and they remain the most successful act in the competition's history. A German company is piloting a process that turns sewage into one of the main ingredients for beer. Going through a total of 4 purification stages, the sewage can be easily misunderstood as certified clean water. Now let's join us in the following story to learn how all of this works.
The treatment of sewage into drinkable water is mechanical, biological, and chemical. Wastewater goes through machines like screens, a grit chamber, and clarifiers to remove contaminants and sift out solids. Tiny organisms break down dissolved substances in the water into solids that settle at the bottom. The chemical treatment stage removes phosphorus from the wastewater.
Climate change is a big issue for breweries. We deal with climate change in terms of raw materials because we are a raw material processor. Water is, of course, the largest raw material component of the ingredients.
The 4th stage is unique to the Weissenberg treatment plant. The water gets mixed with ozone to clean it further, but this can create harmful stuff, so it goes through filtration. In filtration, the water passes through a special filter that uses activated carbon and sand to remove even more impurities, making it safe for reuse, like in brewing beer.
No, I can reassure you. You won't find anything from the sewage treatment plant. We have really done very intensive purification. This makes the water cleaner than the drinking water quality law actually requires.
It's delicious. You don't realize that it's wastewater.
I don't notice any difference from a normal beer. It's really good.
The reuse brew is not yet available for purchase. Its main purpose is to demonstrate the possibilities of modern water treatment and how water can be used sustainably. It's also one of the ways to combat climate change.
Now let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app at VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.